We're here live in Dallas at the Real Geeks headquarters for a Keeping It Real Mastermind, one of the first of many we're going to do. And I'm really excited to have all these amazing agents here. And Mark and Todd asked us to get together and do this, and I thought it was a great idea. And we're going to be filming this event, and some of it will be raw, some of it we're not going to share. We're going to, the super secret stuff, we're probably going to cut out, and you'll have to come to our Keeping It Real event next year to find out about that and the mastermind and stuff like that. But anyway, so we're actually getting together here. We're all going to share ideas and how to do more business, and we're also going to be planning tonight an event that we're going to try and get together, because everybody, all the Real Geeks clients have been asking in the Facebook group, like, hey Jeff, hey, let's do an event, When are we going to do an actual event where we can go? You know, they always wanted to go to Hawaii, but I think we're probably going to be doing it probably somewhere here in the mainland US, so it's more affordable for people to come. And yeah, I want to thank all you guys. The majority of you guys have actually been on a live Keeping It Real and have contributed to the Real Geeks family, and all the clients and even people that are not Real Geeks customers have contributed a lot and shared. And it takes a really big person to be able to step above that and share freely and not worry about, oh, what other people are going to think, as one of my competitors are going to do it, because most likely they're not going to do it, right? But it takes, you know, it's giving, and when you give a lot, you're going to get a lot back. And I think you guys are all very successful because you all are very sharing people, and you want to help other agents. And we're all here to share and learn from each other, and it's going to be an amazing day. So I'm going to let Mark take over. And and for those of you that have never tuned in to a Keeping It Real or On Location, I'm Jeff, the CEO and founder of Real Geeks. I'm also a Hawaii real estate broker. I've been in the business since 1993. All right, Mark.
Very good. All right, so we're going to do a quick kind of around the table introduction, talk about who you are, what markets you're from, your production from a standpoint of volume, sides, and GCI, so that we can just get a basis. It's not about who's biggest. It's not about, Todd and I are probably the small fish in the room, but it's we all have unique businesses, and we all have unique opportunities, and we have unique markets. But there are things that transcend markets that folks will be able to take and implement into their businesses if they want to. I am going to be taking mad notes all day, because there's stuff that we want to get to. We've hit plateaus and we've had struggles. So we're going to talk this morning about what works and what's working in your business. And this afternoon, we're going to talk about what's not working and where are the biggest opportunities for each of you, each of us individually. Where are we struggling? Because like Jeff said, this is about interdependence. When we start out as agents, we're dependent on our broker, and we're dependent on our team leader or whatever to help us get going. And then we become independent, and ego kicks in, and we start building, and we start doing, making stupid decisions based on ego. And I'm going to open my own brokerage, or I'm going to do all this. I can do it better. Then we reach interdependence, where we give back, and that's what this is all about. And so, thank you guys all and gals all for coming, for hosting us, Samia and Jeff, and providing this opportunity. So let's jump in with intro. I will go first and kind of share our numbers and what we're doing, and then I'll write down all of y'all's.
We're in Texas. We're in Texas. I can't say aloha anymore. That's what my accountant said. He said, you got to say y'all.
Right? So for us,
it's a logical contraction of you all.
Y-A-apostrophe-L-L. Y'all.
Y'all.
Slow it down.
So y'all, yeah, slower and drag it out.
Right. It's kind of like
y'all.
With joy in your heart. No,
we drag
not
out.
a Dazed and Confused moment. Great film. Not what we're doing here.
Not Matthew McConaughey. Not that kind of y'all.
Not about creeping on young girls.
So for us, our team, 2017, we're on pace again to do 40 million in volume. We've closed 32 million so far. We're at about 850, 900,000 in GCI right now. Goal is $1 million, $1.1 million. So we've got hopefully enough pendings to get us there. Sides-wise, we'll do 115 deals. We've closed 90 so far. GCI, we're shooting for 1.1 million. That's always our kind of overriding goal. We last year we missed $1 million by $20,000. It frustrated the hell out of me.
Hey, Mark, how many people on your team?
So I've got 4 buyer's agents, a listing specialist, a full-time transaction coordinator who's licensed, and then my business partner and I do not produce. We got out of production 6 months ago.
Good for you.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
That's been my that's been a life changer. So,
So you're coaching them though, right?
well, not as much as they'd like, but I coach other agents across the country, but I don't coach my own team as much as I need to, and that's one of the things we'll talk about this afternoon. Is
I'm excited for that session.
where can I impact their lives more and help them drive to do more. Superpower for me is taking risk. We always want to try to think bigger and take risk, and so my business partner, we've been together, he's phenomenal, but we say I'm the face of the organization and he's the brains, right? And he's kind of behind the scenes. He does not let me have the credit card. I do not have access to the bank account. I take way too much risk. And so he knows that, I'm gonna come in all in to whatever it is that we're gonna do, whatever pillar in our business we're gonna try. And his job is to keep me in control and in check. But it's, and this afternoon we'll talk about some things that we've been doing. This year, 2018, I want to triple that number. And that's a massive undertaking. And so how do we do that? Some of you are already doing that, and I'm looking forward to hearing that. But my thing is taking risk. And then one thing I've implemented in the last 6 months that's radically changed my business is I got out of production. I was the choke point in part of our business. And so once I was able to find a listing specialist that could close as good as me, who could do the things that we needed to do, then it was life-changing for me, because now I can focus on the bigger stuff and the bigger picture. And she's 22 for 24 on listing appointments in the last 6 months, and just phenomenal. It took me a year to find her. So we knew we wanted to do it a long time ago. I said 3 years ago to a guy that I met for lunch, I said, if I never have to go on another listing appointment, I would be in heaven. And it took me 3 years to figure out how to do that. But so that's for us. Todd, you want to go next?
Sure.
So
Pretty
Todd
much.
Tramonte, Dallas, Texas. I'm in Austin, Texas. My team. Todd's here in Dallas. So 2017, what are you guys shooting for?
You can pretty much duplicate what you just put on there, literally across the board.
Okay.
We're at 86 closed and funded as of right now, 15 pending, 13 active listings, 12 active buyers. Our model's slightly different. I think we'd all like to think we're probably a little more unique than we actually are. I'm in the middle, so that's weird. I'm going to stand up with it. But we are unique in that we focus on world-class value. And when I say world-class value, what I mean is we want to go deeper and wider in each transaction. I'm not nearly as concerned with doing a sickening amount more transactions. We're growing, but our average commission rate is a little bit higher than most. For Real Geeks people, that's usually the first call I get is, hey, I saw you're keeping it real about your huge fees or whatever. I'll just say before we get into it, as the always blanket caveat, is everybody can charge whatever you're really worth, right? Our business is an exchange of value. My crusade that I've been on for the last 8 or 9 or 10 years is, if you can deliver more value, your clients come out ahead, you can get paid better, you can compensate your team better, you can build a better business. The traditional brokerage model, I think, is totally garbage. I think it's busted I call it people farming. We can talk about that later. But it's just a bad idea. I mean, you're renting desks. It's like running a movie theater. You rent a desk, but you can't make any money until someone does something else, right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's just not what we do. So our average profitability per transaction is significantly higher than most, which allows us to invest more in the client experience. This is not just like marketing speak. The checks our sellers walk away with and the experiences our buyers walk away with are just significantly better. And so that's where I'm focused. So to jump over to kind of superpower, I'm not going to call it a superpower, but my obsessions are the strategy behind all of that and communicating about all of that. So where my job, I've been out of production for 4 or 5 years now, and so my constant effort, my job title, and the way I talk to my team is my job is to make sure that each one of you hits your goal. Right now, if your goal is too low, you're not going to be on our team anymore. If your goal is too high, I rarely bring a goal down, but I'll help you rein it into reality. Otherwise, my job is to train you, equip you, resource you, go out into the world and bring back the tools and resources you need to achieve that. So that's basically my job, is coaching my team. I actually do a little bit of outside coaching and consulting, but even when I do that, it's like saying, hey, if you want to, we'll treat you like you're one of our team members. We'll let you in on our weekly calls, and you can get our online modules and all that kind of stuff. But my point is, that's the thing I do. I focus all day on making sure that they have everything they need. I don't want to compete with them on production and that kind of thing. But there's very rarely a transaction that comes through our team that I haven't touched somehow. I'm not writing a contract, I'm not showing a property, but I might give a third opinion on price, or I might say, look, that doesn't sound right. Let's bring it over here, let's lay it out and put it up on a few screens and figure that out. So that's kind of my job every day, is the strategy. Of course, I hyper obsess about the marketing stuff too, but our numbers are literally identical. Mark just looked at our tracking software and laughed. I think we're a deal or two behind, and commissions are about the same, and so our pendings are good. We'll talk later about some unique things that we focus on, but
6 months.
In the last 6 months, the best thing that's happened in our business was me being able to turn over another significant layer of leadership on our team to a key leader on our staff. And so I'm a big fan of learning from everyone out there. So there's a company called Buy Referral Only, Joe Stump. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but I learned this from him. I don't know where he got it. He may have created it, but he breaks the business down into a before, during, and after unit. And I have a really great staff person that sort of manages our before unit and one in our during unit. But the guy in our before unit is incredible. He's really gifted. And he's been able to take over a layer of helping our agents be more productive and be coached in real time. He's literally in the room with them during prospecting and appointments. And that's been incredible for me to be able to feel like I don't have to do that. There's someone that can do that as well or better than me. And in the last 6 months, that's one of the reasons that our fourth quarter will probably be double our third quarter, which is really exciting.
Very cool. Phil and Nick, you guys want to? So Phil and Nick are in Phoenix. Go Sold Home.
Go Sold Realty.
Go
So we're
Sold
in
Realty.
Chandler, suburb of Phoenix. So far, actually got our numbers. We're probably identical to you guys. This is hilarious. We've closed 123 units year to date. 124. It'll be 124, 5, and 6 here this morning by about lunchtime. It's 31.5 million right now is what we're closed at officially take home.
So let's look at let's chat.
What's the goal?
The for the year, total year. What are you forecasting?
We'll finish about 155, 160 this year.
Sides.
Sides will be 155 to 160. Commission right now we're closed 897. We'll finish at 1.1 right about there, which is hilarious. And we'll finish about 37, 38 million. We're a little under last year. Last year we did 44 million, 198 sides, and I'll get into that when we get over the 6 months. This is awesome. I didn't realize we were all so similar.
Right.
A lot to learn and a lot to grow from, right?
How many people on the team?
So we had 6 buyer's agents up until 2 weeks ago, and we just hired 3. We actually brought on 3 at the same time, so I could run them all through the same exact onboarding process. And it's nice. You can train one-on-one or throw 3 in the room and say the same thing. And so you can send 1 email or send it to 3 at the same time. So that's been phenomenal for us. So we'll have 9 buyer's agents. Well, we have them now once they're up and running. We have 1 full-time transaction coordinator and then the 2 of us as a coach and still in production back and forth there. So team size is 12 of us right now.
And then do you do listings, or?
We do, yeah.
You guys handle the listings?
Yeah, so that's what we're really excited to be here for is what is that transition when you go from, because him and I both, I rarely produce now and I'm the full-time coach and run the business, and he's still actively producing listings. And so it's inspiring to hear stories of, hey, I stepped out of the business 4 years ago, and what does that transition look like for any agent, right? And even the people watching the video is, I mean, you're beating your brain against the wall selling a ton of homes, and how do you leverage that? Because you're only one person, there's only so much time in the day. And so that's why I'm super excited for this afternoon, is to kind of get into those conversations, is how, you know, how does that work? So that'll be freaking awesome.
I got a great onboarding note for you too.
Awesome. Let's chat about that.
So what would you say your superpower is?
Our superpowers, actually, this is really cool. Something it came about, so we went independent in 2009. Right as the market in Phoenix crashed, we went independent. Well, in 2009, I mean, it was a horrible market, but buyers could get great deals everywhere. And so we just became really a 95% buyer shop at that time. In our first 9 months in business, we did 205 units in 9 months, and it was just buyer business, just left and right, just hustling, hardcore open houses and just showing people homes. And what we did was we tried to make the buyer experience so different. And so out of nowhere, we created this giant big green key, and it's called the Green Key Crew. So all of our clients rally around this. And so we help a lot of millennial first-time buyers. And so like anybody starting the home buying process, it's a nerve-wracking experience for a first-time home buyer. So we wanted to make it smooth for them. So they get their picture with the big green key. So it's one of them 7 foot long. And so it's just become our big superpower, and that's our Facebook advertising, all of our video stuff. And it kind of takes a buyer in it and just makes them smooth. So it's become part of our branding, but that branding's become a huge part of what like our main superpower is, because people want their picture with the big green key. And then that kind of funnels into a buyer consultation up front. So we walk them through our 12 steps of buying a home, and you put them at ease. Actually, in that meeting, we set them up on our Real Geeks website. They get their logins and stuff like that. So that's become our big superpower, is what you mentioned, is the before process for us, is making our clients really feel at ease and feel that this is something that they can do, and really rallying around a whole community. So when they get their picture with the key, they go on our Facebook page, and then you'll have past clients rally around that, hey, congratulations, you got your picture with the big green key. And then that becomes a huge part of what we do through our newsletters. And so our number one lead source is referral, and in my opinion, that's our superpower of why. Because there's a reason you want to refer us. It's not just we're a real estate agent, well, that's that picture and that's that memory. So then we use that to kind of stay in touch with past clients with those photos and things like that. And then what we've implemented in the past 6 months really has actually been Real Geeks. We launched it in January. I had personally, I had our first escrow 48 hours after the site hadn't even been rolled out yet. We had the rough draft version. And I knew I had the login, nobody else on my team knew about it, and I set up a client and had them in escrow literally 2 days later. And so for us, it's been huge. I feel there's a huge transition with people moving. I don't think people that search homes on Zillow, they're getting a bill of goods with homes that have already been sold, or then they get their information sold out to four more other agents. And I felt we didn't want our clients to do that, which is actually why we sought you out. We wanted a really good website that our clients could get on that was user-friendly to browse homes on. And I know we're here today, but that was actually that's been the biggest thing we rolled out for the year, is that user experience for our clients to be able to get real information and not have homes that are under contract or sold. For example, I had a client, the one that we sold within 2 days of launching the site, they had picked out 15 homes on Zillow, sent me all 15. I mean, you get the list, you're just like, oh, I do not want to go through all these homes. 14 of the 15 had already been sold. Yeah. I set them up on our site. A home had fallen out of escrow, was emailed to them on the daily drip. We saw it by 10 a.m., we're under contract by 3 o'clock. That home would have gone multiple offers, but because of the site, we were able to jump on it that fast and get them out there and really take care of that client. And it's super cool. So that's one of the things that we implemented. And this year, a big thing for us, not necessarily our real estate business, but him and I have started a side flipping business as well. Okay. And that's been a huge game changer for the both of us too, for that revenue, for him and I personally. I mean, it won't translate to our sides goal, but for our personal income goals, that's been a huge game changer to roll that out this year.
So you're buying investments and flipping them?
Yeah.
And what's the return on that? Just curious.
Not really sure yet.
You're not. So you're just starting to
just
do
starting
it.
that
Okay.
out, yeah. And so we really just started focusing on that over the past 90 days. Is launching kind of a third leg of the business that I'm handling, and we're pretty excited about it. We're about a week out on our first project going back on the market, and it should work out pretty well. So
Very good. Let's go north to Mr. Jason Simard.
All right.
Nanaimo, Canada, right?
So we're on pace for over 80 million this year. Right now we're at 73 million. Sides, we're probably going to do 220 to 230. Right now, I think we've done around 190. GCI for the company, I believe we're going to hit about 1.8. We're finishing our second year in business, and my goal from the beginning has been to focus on.
Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Second year in the business.
Second year in the business.
We're finishing our second year, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, thank you.
That's awesome.
I have some amazing people that I work with. So my whole thought when I came into the game is I didn't want to worry about the nickels and the dimes and any of that. I wanted to focus on like executing a plan. So I picked 3 pillars from the beginning, which would be social media, internet lead generation, and referrals. And so what I did in year 2 is I just doubled down on those 3 things, and I focused on becoming more of a master in each area. And I'm a big believer in investing in people. If you invest in good people, your business will grow immensely. You hire the wrong people, your business will struggle. So I've invested in people. I've taken risk in the sense that I've spent money to help people get licensing, but I've done things to help people start their careers. And the agents on our team, like that production is with 3 agents out in the field. That's myself and 2 other agents. So our average production per agent is ridiculously high. I have 2 licensed client care managers that work behind the scenes, and so they would be what you guys would refer to as an ISA. I just don't like that name. I like the client care manager, and we're obsessed, like Todd, about the client experience. We never ever worry about the deal. It's always about the relationship. You take care of a client, they'll become an advocate for you. Advocates will refer you business, so our referral business has grown exponentially. The one thing too that we've done differently as well is branding. We've really focused on branding differently. I'm of the belief that the traditional marketing money is going to be shifting, and it's going to be social media, it's going to be those sort of things. So I immediately doubled down on that. I didn't spend any money on the traditional stuff, and it's paid off big. You know, we do a lot of video, we treat every listing like it's a luxury listing. You know, we'll spend more than other people, but I'm smart enough to realize you spend in a listing, you create other buyers, other sellers. People see that. All of a sudden you start branding yourself, and people see that you bring luxury standards to an everyday home. And that's been kind of our consistent philosophy this year. So we do a lot of lifestyle videos. We showcase the community, which has been really good for our website, SEO rankings. Our Real Geeks site is like our platform that we run everything off of. We get our clients dialed into the site just like you guys do, and that's been phenomenal. So summarize it, great people. If you invest in great people, it's amazing when people work from their strengths what happens. So I try to work from my strengths always.
Jason, what were the 3 pillars again? Social media?
So social media,
Yep.
internet leads,
Yep.
so any internet marketing,
Okay.
and then 3rd is referrals.
All right.
Yeah. So and I will not spend outside of that, but I will never nickel and dime those 3 things. I will always give those the appropriate budget they need, because they've been like a huge foundation to our business. And even when my team's like, oh, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? I'm like, guys, just trust me, stick to this. And we've doubled our business this year by just sticking to what we were doing last year. So.
Well, clearly it's working.
Yeah. 2 years.
I remember our first hangout.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
4 months in.
Yeah, 4 months in. I'm like, Jason, you need to raise your goal. And you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I said, you're way on track. You're gonna blow it out.
He's like, I was 4 months in. I think I did like 27 ends or something like that. So a good start. And you know, he's like, well, what's your goal? I was like, I don't know, maybe like 50 or 60. He's like, that's too low. So then I broadcasted publicly on his
That you were gonna
thing,
do 90. And he actually,
Yeah, that was the title, right?
Yeah. How Jason's gonna do 90, and I'm sure people looked at it and thought, this guy's crazy. Well, we ended up doing like over 135, which was crazy. So what it did is it kept my foot on the gas pedal and my mindset focused on just always executing on that plan. And it's been amazing. Seriously, it's been the best career move that I could have done is starting a real estate business. Yeah. And I've got amazing people. And one of the unique things, the superpower I think that we have is I care about my people to the point where I want them to make more money than I do. You know, like I genuinely want that. I'm looking to do other passive income streams in the future for them. I make enough money now that I'm comfortable. I don't live like this extreme lifestyle. I don't need yachts and anything, but I love the idea of being able to create freedom for my business partners. And I call them business partners. I do profit share. So a week before Christmas, I'm going to be handing out a lot of money to my people. And that's money, sure, I could keep that for myself, but no, they've earned it. They're the reason why we're succeeding. And I want to make sure that they're able to change their families' lives. So that's a big thing. Culture. If you focus on your culture in your company and you say we and you treat them like business partners, not I, it's amazing what that'll do. Serve other people. Big time.
I would agree too, because when I was running my team, and we would hand over, you know, the customer over to a buyer's agent or something, but we would never say, oh, I'm going to hand you over to my buyer's specialist or whatever. I would say, hey, my partner Simone or my partner whoever, Karen, will be reaching out to you, and so I think it's huge to be calling them a partner because they are a partner in your business. 100%. And then the customer doesn't feel like they're being handed down to somebody. They feel, oh yeah, I'm being transferred over, your partner's going to help. Great. When are they going to contact you?
Yeah, and I genuinely see them as equals. There's no hierarchy in our business. I don't believe in that. I think everybody is an equal. My admin team, they play an important role. I love those girls because they help take the things off my plate that I'm not good at. The agents that are out there showing homes every day, I mean, that's not an easy job. So I appreciate
And what he just said is admin, not admin.
Oh, you're gonna bust his chops on his Canadian stuff.
Yeah, y'all. Y'all.
All right. How about our other Canuck, Kory?
2017 volume, on track to do 32 million. Sides, my average sale price is quite a bit higher, so sides would be 65, and that'd be right around 8 to 850. So put 8 GCI. Yeah. So just in general, I basically copied a lot of what Jason Simard did. I've actually went and visited with him and his team in Nanaimo. How long ago was that? A month ago-ish?
2-3 months now.
About 2-3 months ago. That's right. Because right after I did that, I decided I wanted the in-house client care. I was tired of calling internet leads. I'm basically working all the leads now. We're looking for agents, buyer agents, but I call partners like him. And essentially, I wanted to get to the point where I wouldn't have to do that prospecting myself. So I found somebody, and she's, I think, 65 days in now. She's setting 6 to 10 appointments per week, that teeing up just for me, as well as some other referral agents I use because I just don't have the capacity to do more than 6 to 10 appointments per week myself with new buyers or new sellers, in addition to showing properties, in addition to doing deals, right? So it's been super, super powerful. I would say that I skipped ahead to the 6 months, but I'd say that's definitely the most critical thing.
So the prospector, basically.
Yeah, I call it the same thing as him. I don't like the term
Client care.
ISA. I like the term client care manager. And I also refer to people, like I have a transaction coordinator or an admin. You guys call it admin, or what is it? Admin, okay, so admin, who does transaction coordination and a lot of the back end stuff that I'm not very good at and I don't like to do. And he's actually in the Philippines. I've had him for about 2 years. And I originally hired him to be a full-time ISA, to qualify and prospect. He wasn't as graded as I'd hoped, so I basically just took it over and let him do background stuff. And now, since I've gotten the full-time client care manager named Cindy, she actually does all of that, and then I separate it so the admin is all done by KC, who's in the Philippines, and then she does all that. And it just frees me up to only talk to people that are active buyers, active listings, or people that are pending and you're working on subject removal, which is a little bit different than the escrow system, right? For superpower, I would say analytics. I'm pretty sharp with analytics, data, and AdWords. I basically, when I got into this business, I decided I need opportunities. When I get licensed, the phone's not necessarily going to ring. I kind of expected that. And so I just said, where do people come from? Where do you go when you want to search for real estate? Online. Where do most people go? Google. So how do you get Google? You can do SEO or you can do pay-per-click. So I just decided to spend 5 or 6 hours a day for 4 or 5 years at night, in the middle of the night, figuring out how AdWords work. Now I've got my cost per lead down to the point where I can actually have pretty good ROI, even though the conversion could be a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Come on now.
It's decent.
What he spends in a month, Bret spends in a day. On
Probably,
AdWords.
yeah.
Double.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember reading. So yeah, that's the production, that's the superpower, that's the 6 months, and yeah.
Well, you win the award for traveling the farthest, what, 3,000 kilometers to get
He's
here?
No,
further.
Traveled just
Are you
as
further?
far.
He's
Well, actually,
he's-
I had to-
He had to take
He
a
had to
float
take a
plane.
ferry
I had to take a
first and
float
then
plane.
take a flight from the same airport as me,
Yeah.
so he
You
actually
got here
went.
by air, land, and sea.
Yeah.
Our igloos are a little colder than what you guys are used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, I left my house about 7:45 this morning.
Right.
It doesn't? Oh, okay.
Jeff's 7/10 of a mile from here.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Bret Baker. You are in Washington, correct?
Eastern Washington, yeah. If you were to take Jason's numbers and you move them into my primary market, that's pretty much what we're going to be doing this year. if you want to include outside markets, which will.
Let's talk about the whole business.
I'm not going to, and the whole reason I'm not going to is we're going to talk about my last 6 months here in a minute, and I'll jump into that right now. But take Jason's numbers,
So 80?
drop them down. In the last 6 months, I'm going to jump to that right now. I have actually refined my team, as you would call it, and I've actually moved out of my expansion areas and focused on a main area, because what I had found was, I may be an insomniac, but I do like sleep. And so being up at 2, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, working all day sucks.
So if I'm hearing you properly, expansion, which is the major buzzword in the industry right now, may not be all it's cracked up to be.
I think you can do expansion right. Jeff did expansion right. Kory did it. When you were doing your I did it, started the same way you did, where I could generate leads in any market, and so I would find an agent there and be like, "I'll generate leads for you." Well, leads don't turn into deals, and we're going to nail that later today. But what I found was that expansion market, as soon as you get wide, you don't get deep. And you can't focus on your main group. So I was scattered all over the place generating leads in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, Spokane, Seattle, Vancouver. It became overwhelming. And so I took everything, and could I have grown that really big? Yeah. Would I probably be sitting here right now? I probably would have killed myself without sleep. So I took that super wide and honed it in, which is why we've actually done less this year than we were anticipating doing.
Hey Brett, quick question. So you actually jumped state lines, so you weren't even going to outskirt markets in your, in your area. You were going states over.
It was so stupid what I was doing. So what I did was I hopped onto Zillow and was like, hey, where can I spend all my money? And so I was like, ooh, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, resort town. They come in through buyers. Yeah, no, really bad idea. Really, really, really bad idea.
So you're getting more on the quality of stuff versus the quantity.
Exactly. And so what's my superpower? Branding and marketing. Branding and marketing are my two things. I'm the only guy that I know that does pink in real estate. And you've been on my site
many times, bro. Many times.
It basically my forte is basically that marketing, that branding, and then following up. And so what I found was I was doing all the lead follow-up. And in expansion markets, when you don't know anything about that, they're like, oh yeah, we want to go see homes in Liberty Lake. I'm like, where the f is Liberty Lake? Looking up Liberty Lake. Oh yeah, that's a good area. Like, I've never been there. So I think that was kind of a big game changer for me. So this year we're under where we want to be, but I think now that we've honed in and refined on that, I think we're going to do a lot better. So, and I say we, it's myself, 3 teammates, and that's pretty much it. I'm still in production. I hate it, but I'm still in production. I watch Mark, who's out of production. I'm listening to you guys that are like, oh, I'm out of production. I'm like, crap, you're out of production, and here I'm sitting here going, I'm waiting for a deal to close right now.
That's fine.
I'm waiting for that number. Come on, give me my recording numbers.
I think that's a big discussion. I think I know, Brett. We're in that same boat as you, right? It's that transition of, do you go on the deal or do you let one of your other agents go on the deal? And how do you translate your quality of service into a system for those agents to implement? And what's that transition? So I'd love for us to have that conversation, throughout the day or even later tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the big thing for me was I have control issues. I mean, let's look at my past. I mean, I was an air traffic controller. Like, that's what I did.
It was in your title.
Right. So literally, you take that, and I mean, I basically, one of my partners who, basically, she came in and she goes, Brett, you're not going on these showings. And she dragged me kicking and screaming out of that part of production. She's like, I'm going on your showings. I'm going to work the buyers. Please build this business. And so that's literally, it took her dragging me out kicking and screaming for me to stop. So.
We'll talk about that transition as much as everybody wants, because most people do it too soon. Would you agree? And so there's this, you talk about expansion's a buzzword in our industry right now. Well, so is well, I'm out of production. I'm a CEO of an 8-person company. Cool title. But the point is, most people go out of production and then they get all set up to live their dream life and get sucked back into production, right?
Because it shrinks, right?
Right. Well, because they didn't equip the person that was going to fill the void.
Well, if you look at a lot of people's numbers, a lot of the numbers are them personally producing. And then you move it to somebody else and it just doesn't translate without systems in place to do
And
that.
there's churn, and there's just so many different
We
factors,
made that
right?
fatal flaw. One of the right when we started out, we stepped into zero production. We came in to just give and give and give to our team members. And what happens is, I mean, if you really look at a lot of the revenue that you get off a listing, I mean, there's a substantial amount of your GCI that goes to your family and your pocketbook, and then to completely take that away off the table, you know. So I get that
huge.
transition, man. It's
Yeah.
giant, right?
scale
And you got to
has to go
replace it
way
with,
up to-
yeah, you got to replace it with more, right?
But there's also like a balancing act too, because as you're giving the leads to people, you want them to be good and confident and convert. But then at the same time, you almost want to be like, now keep in mind who gave you the lead, because
Don't screw this up.
Yeah, at times though, like they get to the point where they're like, wait a second, I should be getting more of the cut.
Right. Yeah.
And now you're playing this balancing act of like, no, I totally get it. But at the end of the day, you're not doing what's the most important. That's the lead.
Well, that's where leadership comes in, and that you can't. Again, we'll talk about this when we want to get there. I think we talk about what we need to talk about whenever we need to talk about it. But part of that big gap that gets created when someone leaves production is, I'm just going to say it again, it's leadership, right? So if you're leading well, you're saying, hey, here's where we're going. You know, in 90 days or 120 days, the opportunity is about to go up, because I'm going to step out and I think you're ready. I think you're awesome. I think you may be able to do this even better than me. But you still have to lead out, and the real value, the biggest value is in acquiring a client, right? So you can call it client acquisition cost, or you can call it something more warm and fuzzy than that. But the people that know that are the people that have failed miserably, and the people that are leading well. And there's no insult or thinking any less of someone that's stuck somewhere in between, like failure and leading an organization. But it's just saying, hey, this is how this is going to work. This is where I see you really succeeding. It's kind of like negotiating commission splits. It's always the wrong question. Can I have a higher split? No. If you want to make more money, here's some ways we can do that. Yeah. And without getting off into like 8 rabbit holes there, I was so paranoid about getting out and getting sucked back in that I did this very slowly, and that maybe too slowly. But I'll share the mistakes I made, and then hopefully become a better leader, learning from you guys as well as we talk about those things.
So my thing that I've noticed in the industry is the great salespeople that have killer numbers aren't necessarily great business people. Yeah. In fact, some of the best business people aren't necessarily the best salespeople. Yeah. And it's 2 different hats. And I studied it coming into the game, and I thought, okay, if I get hit by a Coke truck, does my family have revenue coming in? And the answer would be, right now, we'd be at a point where I could probably continue to bring in revenue, but it's not to the point where it needs to be. Right. But I've built it deliberately from day one. I was like, I have a 5-year plan where I can exit production and make sure that the systems keep running and there's an income for my family, so I can focus on other business lines which will help benefit my team. So they have, I call that our pension plans we're creating for ourselves. Mm-hmm. But I've deliberately thought that way from day one. What I find is most agents are not deliberate in their thinking. They start off the industry and they're just like, I'm just going to sell a bunch of homes, and they just create a job for themselves. Yeah. Well, what's the exit plan in real estate? There is no exit
It's
plan if
usually
you haven't
burn
thought
out
about.
and then start to think about how the hell do I
Right.
stop doing this? I don't want to go on
Or
appointments
the market
anymore.
shifts and you just
Yeah. So be deliberate, think about it from day one, and think, how can I empower people and bring on the right team, and do it like Todd's saying, you know, you can do it slowly and progressively, but have an actual plan and think like a business owner, you know, versus just being a great salesperson, because at the end of the day, that will create a job for you for the next 30 years if you want it.
It's funny, if you study business, you run across what's called the Peter Principle, right? People get promoted to their level of most incompetency, right? So you're like, you were awesome at sales. You should be like our lead sales guy, like our sales leader. Maybe not, right? And then they're like not very good at it. So you're like, well, let's not promote them again. So they just stay where they're worst.
And you
And
can't
that's like
promote. You can't demote, because then it's like
traditional brokerage 101, right? Like, well, I guess office manager guy, like knows a little bit about sales, isn't a great marketer. It's like not all that encouraging, but it's not going to go be an agent again, and we're not going to let him. So every day, just flip a coin and hope, you know. So, but that's the industry we live in. Like, hey, I'm going to recruit 200 because 167 are going out the back door as these ones come in, and out of the whatever, you know, 32 or 33 that are left, one of them might sell something. That would be cool, because then we could make more than like the desk rental, which would be really nice. It's just broken. So I love hearing you talk about, like, I saw it before I even started. Most of us weren't that forward thinking, right? It was like I jumped in, tried to feed my family, then realized there's only 24 hours in a day, and hopefully slow down enough to think about that. That's what I view days like this are like, hey, you're slowing down. I'm not out selling a house today. I'm going to back up and go, you're right. I'm an idiot. I should stop doing that, right? Or you're right. I should do more of that. That's working better than I sort of thought. I was too close to it.
One of the things I really like was your isolated focus, though, on your 3 pillars. And I know in this business you get so scatterbrained and you want to grow and you want to learn more and do more. And I feel that you get pulled in 1,000 different directions, very similar to what you just experienced, very kind of what you mentioned. But I like you bringing it into those 3 key pillars and really focusing on that and being great at those, right? Versus being okay and average at 15 other things.
I love that it simplifies it too. His decision making isn't, up in the air. It's, does it fit into those? Invest. That's it. And then move on. Next, right?
And I never worry about what if it doesn't work.
Yeah, just do it.
So that's the number one thing too with really good agents, because I get people that reach out to me a lot, and I always come up with the same conclusion at the end, is that they all have analysis paralysis. Yeah. And in fact, some of you at this table have analysis paralysis, and I'm going to hopefully help you break that down, because you're your own worst enemy. There's some of you that are way smarter than I am, but you've just made this way too complicated, and you forget at the end of the day, this is a very simple business. Happy clients, results, right? And it starts, you take care of your people. If you take care of your people, they'll take care of your clients. Your clients will take care of your company. So your job is, you're the rainmaker. You need to take care of your people and make sure they're succeeding. If they are succeeding, they'll make sure your clients are succeeding and happy, and then your business will thrive. So never ever use the word I when you're talking about your business to anybody. Always say we, because at the end of the day, your business is not you, it's the entire group. Jeff, you're nothing at Real Geeks without the people.
No, I agree.
Scenes,
I
right?
agree. I tell everybody on my team that everybody's just equally as important, whether it's a support person, whether it's a marketing person, whether it's a salespeople, whether it's the developers, they're all equal. We can't grow as a business if we can't grow without the other people, right? We need the developers to develop and keep innovating the software, but we need the client support people and the marketing people to take care of our customers and give amazing service. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to grow. People will start talking bad about us or what have you. They just won't have that experience. And our number one goal, I'm really fanatical about the customer and bringing as much value as possible. I mean, that is my number one goal, and that's why we priced where we're priced, and that's why we do the keeping it reals, and that's why we just do what we do. We want to give way more than what we take. Yeah. And if we can give way more than what we take, we're going to win, like you said. Jason hits it every time. It's all about giving and helping people, whether it be your employees or your customers. And if you do that, everything else will work out. You can finagle the numbers, or, hey, well, this isn't working, because we're, not charging enough, or we need to increase here. That's just a numbers thing, but I think it all starts with taking care of the people. And my support people are just as important as the developers, and the salespeople are just as, everybody's equal. We cannot do anything without everybody. It's everybody contributing, and that's how you're going to grow your business.
So I love what you said about your 3 pillars. I think a lot of times we need to simplify the business for the team members also, and I'm sure
you communicate it directly to them so they
So
know.
it's funny that you say 3 pillars, because that's what we call it, our 3 pillars. And so our agents, our team members, have what we call 3 pillars. Pillar 1 is basically what I provide, right? So like, it's a referral from a past team member that you've never met
from
before.
your side, yeah.
It may be a personal referral, or a past team client that's coming back, or the buy side of our listing side that's like, hey, I need you to come take this buyer with me, right? It's like, pretty much don't mess it up. It's right there. Pillar 2 is we provide leads, we provide systems, we provide signage, websites, whatever, and then you need to go close on that. You need to go convert and close on that, right? And then pillar 3 is what most people would call like their sphere of influence, their personal environment, right? But we call it third pillar business. And so my goal for them is they've got the same mental clarity that we do as leaders. It's like, listen, there's a lot going on. Real estate, we've all sort of in one way or another mentioned, when I got into the business, and it's just a storm of, hey, buy these postcards, get a website, get some leads, get this kind of leads. Those aren't leads. This is how you define lead, right? And you're like, what? This all supposed to be working. Everyone says they're a billionaire with a yacht. They're all right. Like what? Oh, it's not what they say? Okay. So it's impossible for them to figure that out if they're the ones that have to figure it out. So if you're a team leader or a broker and owner, I think it's our responsibility. I'm totally in with everything you say. My client is the team. And then our clients, they're going to go serve. So if I make our culture, our team went to the lake together a couple weeks ago. They're all coming to our house next weekend just to hang out. These are things where my wife and I, our team, the leaders on our team and I serve our team members, right? And again, it's not serving down, it's serving out, right? It's just, we're all there. So then they can feel like, look, I got to work on 3 areas of my business. Now, you can get granular and say within each pillar, you might have 2 or 3 focus areas too. You know, in my third pillar, I'm gonna do some social stuff. I'm gonna do some online, you know, whatever. But they've got to be able to show up every day going, I know what my business is. And this is my business within your business, and I know how I want to run it. Otherwise, you get an agent like that hadn't been in the office for, ours come in every day, but they show up and they're like, check out these new postcards I'm doing. And you're going.
Well, one of the things that I like about what you guys are saying though too is, sometimes like when people get into the business and the ultimate dream is to have the team, the issue is that they don't realize that you're dealing with salespeople, and that's like herding cats. And one of the things that they don't come across is like quality versus quantity on the salesperson is, it's a trump card from this standpoint. It comes down to conversion with the leads. And there's something to be said with an experienced agent. When you're giving profit sharing checks, when you're doing stuff out with the team, you're investing into the most important group with real estate, because all the leads that you're spending money on, it goes to none when you're handing it to a rookie agent that just showed up at the office saying, oh, you know, I have a lead for you. And one thing that we've learned the hard way is there is something to be said about the experience. And it's not a fair thing. Like, my good quality leads go to 2 agents because I know that they can convert. But I love how you guys are like, hey, you know, we're putting money and time and investing into those people because they make a huge difference.
So we keep talking back and forth about leads. I just want to lay something on the table. Okay, everybody in this industry talks about, I need more leads, I want more leads, leads. It's literally like every time I open Facebook, I'm like, for the love of God, stop talking about leads. The part that I think everybody misconstrues in our industry, there are leads and there are clients. Everybody focuses on, oh, I'm getting 400 leads a month. Good, how many are you converting? 2. Wow, that's a really crappy day. So I think
And a lot of work.
I think a lot of people need to shift their mindset from I'm getting leads to I'm getting clients. I don't consider a person a true lead until they're seeing houses, until they've talked to me, and until I have a buyer agency agreement signed with them. That's a lead to me, because that's someone who's committed to working with me. So that's,
you can count them in your pipeline.
right.
I don't think we have a lead problem in the business. We have a conversion problem. I mean, so like you said, it's like, hey, give me leads. Hey, we can generate hundreds and thousands of leads for you, but you gotta put in the time and work to get the skills to know how to communicate, to be able to follow up, be able to talk with them, you know, and they'll say, oh, I called them and they're not converting. Well, what did you say when you called them? And I've role played with some customers that said, hey, we're getting these leads suck. And then I said, okay, great, the leads suck.
Mindset.
Let's do a little bit of role play. And then I'm the buyer, let's role play, and then I go, okay, what you're saying kind of sucks, right? So let's do a role play, and then I would reverse, and I would be them, and they go, oh, yeah, that sounds a little bit better. Yeah, well, you're communicating, you're listening to them as a human instead of as a lead, and they're hammering them, and they're just like, they're not even listening to them, right? So you know, and a couple of people I've done that with, and they've called me back to like the next week or email, hey, by the way, I got two put in escrow since we talked. I'm like, great. Now stop focusing on the leads are shitty. Start focusing on who can I talk to? Can I actually talk to this person? Can I help them? If you come from wanting to help and give and serve, they're no longer a lead. They're a person, and you're talking to them, and you're having a real communication. And you're going to be able to convert them because you're really trying to help them instead of just looking at them as a lead.
So our next topic here is like, what's working best? Sure. So what's working best? Follow up, but not just like, hey, you want to buy a house? Hey, you want to buy a house? Hey, you want to buy a house? There's a different approach to it. One of the things that makes us so powerful at what we do, one of the things that makes our conversion, we'll get people that have talked to other agents in our market, 4, 5, 6 other agents, and they'll work with us because by the time we get to them, we break it down. Hey, I don't care if you're buying a home this month, next year. Where are you at in your home buying process? Oh, you're brand new? Never thought about even getting into it? Just saw one of our ads? Cool. How can we assist you? And as soon as you break it down and make it all about that client, they're gonna attach. And so what's working well for us? Our follow-up. Our follow-ups are working the best right now.
Yeah, we actually train on that. One of our big things is understanding the buyer and seller psychology. And we've actually rolled this into a lot of our new marketing, is understanding that, that first-time home buyer starting out, they have fears and dreams at the same time. Is they're nervous about their credit, their down payment, what's the process, the house itself, the AC units, all the above. So they have one side, one little, the devil over here, I'm afraid, but then at the same time, these dreams of, this is going to be our home and paint our walls. And, from all of us who have been in this business a while, when you see the room painted blue or pink for the baby for the first time, I think understanding that for the lead conversion is a huge part of that. And then same thing on the listing side, right? Too many agents get focused on, I got this deal or this person. That person's late on payments and they're nervous about losing their home, or, they raised their babies in this home and now they have to downsize and move to a retirement community or whatever. And I feel that understanding that when you're coming into the lead and making that first initial contact and really finding out what are their needs and really what are they going through and what are they feeling. So what's working? One of the things we just implemented was BombBomb, video emails, and now you can start, you can convey what they're going through, and they can see your eyes and your passion and your heart when you're coming through in a lead follow-up. So we've been doing that a lot lately with our online leads.
But the consumer is also a lot smarter, and I feel like one of the things that you can't downplay is they're sneakier with their fake phone numbers. They might give the real email address, but if you get a chance to talk to that person over the phone, and I love what you said, your scripting better be on point. And then number two is the consumer, if you're attacking the first phone call and you don't have a system set up for the follow-up, you're going to lose them.
Absolutely.
And the consumers can tell right off the bat. And you can tell the ones, and it's a big turnoff. But when you approach it the right way, these internet leads, it's a different approach for them too. The consumer is like so used to getting attacked, like their defenses are even up on Zillow, like don't call me, just email me, I only want to see this home. But you kind of see in the last 3 or 4 years, the consumer themselves are catching on and becoming smarter on the other end.
There's more and more articles that lay out what to say when when a realtor's prospecting you, like how to get them to leave you alone, right? Like, say you have an agent, say you're just looking, say you're 2 years out, whatever it is. So to get the real truth, you have to empathize with them and they have to feel that you actually care. Nobody cares what you know until they know that you care.
And here's the secret. You're next. He's been raising hands for like four or five people.
Right? That's the Canadian.
You got to really, here's the deal, you got to really care though. You really do. You can't fake it.
They smell it a mile away.
They smell it. So you got to really, you really got to want to help people. And back when I was selling real estate, day to day, I was calling the expired listings. It was not easy to do. I mean, you got to call them over and over. But I really cared and I really felt that I was going to give the person better service, and I didn't want them to get screwed over again because they had listed their home with somebody else and they probably told them a story or more money they could get or whatever because it was a desperate agent that just wanted the frickin' listing. So you got to really care about the people, and if you don't really care, it's hard to fake.
So, okay, one thing we haven't fully touched on here is the importance of emotional intelligence. When you're hiring people, you have to hire people to their strengths. Too many people try and do these hybrid roles, like use an admin person to do lead follow-up. Okay, a great admin person who's very analytical, detail-minded is probably in admin for a reason. If they've never shown any inkling of like enjoying sales and being on the phones, why would you put them in that role? Like hire to the role. You put people within their strengths, it's amazing what they can do. I've taken an agent in his first year is going to do over 80 sales. I have another agent, she's done 30 since April, just started, never been an agent before. Neither of them have been agents, but I put them to their strengths. And I have the support around them so that they're not working in their weaknesses ever. They're always working to their strengths. So in your hiring process, as you're building your teams and you want to be able to step out of production, you really got to focus on the EQ side of it. And you've been lied to by a lot of these sales trainers, I'll tell you this right now too. The DISC profile, you want the D and I, that's what everybody's told you need your ISAs. Well, I actually look for a lot of S. And if you don't know what a DISC profile is, do a DISC profile. S is the caring side of things. Our client care managers, they're not trying to get an appointment. They're trying to build a meaningful, genuine connection with the client, building rapport and trust. And they realize it's a process. But it's process, thank you.
Sounded right to me when he said it.
Yeah, so but there's a detailed process that they follow, and at the end of the day, it's like you're not going to get the appointment on the first call. And too many people have been trained
To
under the
expect
Mike
that.
Ferry scripts, which is like very aggressive. I'll be honest with you, this is me personally, sorry Mike, I'm not a big fan of his stuff. It's old school, it doesn't work, in my opinion, with the new school technology if you're gonna be doing online lead generation. You have to flip the switch and focus on solely providing value to that client where you exceed the 5 other people whose websites they've registered on. And so that's our whole approach to the call. And my client care managers are unbelievable. They're much better than I am at it now because they've just taken those skills.
I think there's been a shift.
Hold. In all defense, I'm going to defend Mike here because I'm an old Mike Ferry guy. But Mike Ferry does not teach people to hammer people. He has a script to follow a roadmap, but he says to listen to them, repeat back, and care and stuff. He is not about hammering and not caring about people. He's all about listening and doing that. So I mean, I can see that as like, hey, it comes off like that, but I just wanted to correct that. So.
Do you look more into the like a personality trait or their habits more when you're hiring?
Personality. I hire on personality because you can't, if somebody has a bad attitude or doesn't have the right personality profile for what you're trying to do and the culture you want, I don't care what their experience is. Because some of the smartest people with the best degrees are not great at business and sales, and you have to really think.
You were the one that taught me this, and you didn't realize you taught me this, but you did. You can train anything except personality, and that took me a while to catch on to. As soon as I was like, wait a minute, I can train literally everything except for that person's personality.
Like the fundamentals of who they are.
What builds them. Like you don't realize this. I hired a person because you taught me that, and the growth has been exponential within that person. So.
And the only trap you can get into is relying too heavily on a piece of paper that shows
Right,
someone's
that was
personality.
I was trying
like
to get
you've
to.
got to see it in them, and that's why I said history.
And if you don't have their arrest record to put next to that,
If you see on a paper like a really good SID, SDI type, I'm personable, I am results oriented, but I care about people, and I'll slow down and follow a system, and I'm willing to follow up the 5th time. I don't have to kick the door in the 1st time. But I've still failed at the last 6 things I did. Then there's something not in your wiring, but in your nurture. You got nature versus nurture kind of deal. So there's more to it, and I found that it's wonderful to hear that, right? Like, oh God, that makes it so much easier. But don't make it too easy. You still have to get to know people, and you have to know their instincts and their desires. Because I can say, dude, I love helping people. Who doesn't say that in real estate? Yeah. Read someone's bio that doesn't say, I love serving people, more money, less time, I'm delightful, right? Like my whole life led me to this mecca moment where I could walk you into your
Do you like referrals too?
Right, yeah. Hey, the greatest compliment you can pay me is not sending me a referral. It'd be like, you're a wonderful, godly father and husband. But a referral is nice. But anyway, my point is, you do have to go a step behind. I think the disc and all these profile stuff have caused people to be like, sorry, you're not the right disc, I'm not gonna call you back. Like, that's not cool either.
It just gives you insight.
But it is a great
It's a tool, it's a piece of
filter.
information.
And I love that you're talking about, you gotta get past the D&I part. Like, the S is powerful, and if you look at a lot of the research, like the C piece of the personality is really successful with online leads too, right? It's kind of understanding how things fit. It's really important.
I was listening to a podcast, and one of the things that the guy was talking about with hiring is if you ever go to a restaurant, a Target, or whatever, you'll always notice a person that regardless if they worked at Burger King or your real estate office, they do good. And he's like, you just notice it. And he was talking about, he was at the dollar store, and the lady that was checking him out had worked there for 20 years. But he's like, I could place her in my real estate office, and she would do the exact same type of business because you can just pick up on people's habits sometimes.
Yeah. And I actually hate hiring other real estate agents. I hate it. I because of you, I now will pretty much only hire from non-agents, and if they're in a customer service role. Yeah. Because especially the ones, I love to say this, Starbucks. Because if they can handle a client at Starbucks that is needing caffeine, that is obviously aggravated because the blonde roast is not there and they only have Pike's Place. Like, if they can handle that person, they can handle any client that I send their way.
So you test them through the drive-thru.
That's exactly what I do. Every time. Do you have blonde roast? No. What do you mean?
When you're not guessing on how they're going to be customer service wise. Right. You're immediately impressed by their customer service. That's the starting point.
We actually did this. Oh, excuse me. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, and I want you to finish. Let's jump into what's working best, but I want you to add with Real Geeks. Okay, so in other words, in your businesses, we've talked about the last 6 months and the different things we're doing, but talk more in depth about what's working best and how are you leveraging Real Geeks in your business with your clients and the things that you're doing and with your team, because it's a phenomenal tool. And I'd love to hear, for us, I'll start, and Nick, I don't want to lose your thought, so go ahead with that, and then we'll.
I'll put a bow on we were talking about the hiring and stuff. One of the things we did in our last, we felt the need for 3 more buyer's agents on our team as we were growing and really kind of ramping up for 2018. I felt we had a lot of the right pillars in place to be at some of those large numbers, the 220s and 250s, and I felt that we needed 3 more people to fill that role. We were going to hire 2, and I just couldn't say no to the 3rd. What we did was on our application process, going back to the getting away from the disc, because I was always taught, D's and I's, D's and I's, D's and I's, D's and I's, and I'm a huge S myself, and I actually agree with that. I train on it, I teach it. I think if you can really get to know somebody's heart, you'll be good to go. And what we did was we did an open-ended questionnaire for our applications. And I wanted to find out these people's personalities. And so we ran Facebook ads to it and a ton of stuff like that. And one was about their goals and stuff, but anybody can fill in the blank. But when you give them a nice paragraph, you start to see people's personalities. And so one was about their goals and where they wanted their career to go. And I just did this random. And last question was like question number 8, tell us anything else about you that you would love to share. And that's where you hit that personality. It's funny you mentioned that, is you could see these personalities coming out. We got like 40 applications, and just a couple of them just really stood out because this last paragraph, here's who I am, and you get some random fun facts. The real deal. And the funny thing was, the people that actually took the time to be sincere on that are the 3 people we hired. And we had the first 2 ready to go, and then this last application come in. I couldn't say no to it because you could just get the person's heart, and sure enough, it all worked out, and it was right to that point. So
awesome.
There with the hiring.
Very good. So what's working best with Real Geeks? For us, we've been with Jeff and Geeks for 5.5, 6 years. I think we were early adopters. Nick Kramer turned me on to Geeks because I had reached out to Nick about PPC and all that, and we tried them all, Z57 and iBroker, and you name a IDX site, we've tried it. And we realized 2 things. One, SEO was huge, and it was easy to build. And then secondly, people stayed on it, and they kept coming back to it. And so, the stickiness factor in a website in today's day of, they're 3 hours on Facebook, and you've got about 5 seconds to keep them engaged in whatever you're trying to do with them. We noticed that we were watching session time, and we were watching how many pages and all that stuff. So, how deep were they going and how long were they staying? And Real Geeks just nailed it. And so then, PPC, we were heavy in that. I still believe it's got its place. We shifted away from PPC and went heavy into Zillow. And anybody who knows me knows I'm a huge fan of Zillow, and there's a ton of Zillow haters, and that's fine. I really don't care, but it works for us, and we've figured out how to use it and leverage it. But the Real Geeks platform for us has been huge. I'm a big fisherman, and so when you're fishing, you have to have bait. You have to know where the fish are. You have to have the boat and the right equipment. There's a lot of things that go into it. You don't just go out and fish and hope for the best. You have a plan, and we're going to that spot, and if that doesn't work, we're going to that spot. But you have to catch the bait, and so you got to find the live bait. You look for birds. When we're offshore, off the Keys or whatever, we're looking for birds because birds are where the bait is, because they can dive down and grab them. Well, guess who's sitting underneath the bait is the big fish, right? So we got to get the bait and find the bait first. So we use Zillow as the bait. In other words, that Zillow they've got a ton of the online traffic. They've got a ton of the mobile sessions. So let's go find bait there and then get them off of Zillow. So we cast the net, we pull them into the boat, and we dump them into our live well, which is Real Geeks. Okay, the Real Geeks platform we get them via Zillow. Then we do everything we can to get them off of Zillow and into our Real Geeks platform. So now we're one-to-one. And the live well in the fishing world, it circulates, it's got pumps, it's pumping oxygen into it, it's keeping the fish alive, it's keeping the bait alive. Because big trophy game fish want fresh bait. They don't want limp, old, frozen, nasty fish, right? Nobody wants that.
Descriptive.
Yeah, so
That escalated fast.
so
Nasty,
so
disgusting.
don't go there, Jeff. But anyway, so old, So the bait has to be fresh, and so we use Real Geeks as the live well to keep them coming back, right? Keep them engaged, and then when it's time to fish, when they find the house they like, or they we're looking for consumer behavior. We're looking for those indicators. They favorited a property, they shared a property, they haven't been on the site in 45 days, and all of a sudden they pop back on, and they've been on 5 times in one day. We're looking for those indicators of human behavior that's raising their hand, saying, "We're ready. We're getting close. You should probably call me right now because by the way, I'm on 5 other agent sites." So those are the things we're looking for. Then we attack again. We attacked them the first time. Then we've nurtured them, and now we're back into, let's get you out and show you some houses and write a contract. But one of the things that we always tell them in our first calls is, if you're not ready to buy right now, that's fine. If you're going to be buying in 6 months, a year, 2 years, it's okay because we're going to be here, right? It's not about, I have to have you in my car today to make my mortgage payment next month. We're not desperate. We want to come from abundance. We want to come from contribution. We want to help them in the process. And yes, we're pushing stuff to them, but people they don't want your drip emails, okay?
The canned
guys,
ones?
they don't want your crap, okay? They want
Spam e-newsletters.
yeah, we as realtors, I really don't care that you listed a new house and you're going to e-blast it to 10,000 realtors. That just goes to spam. So,
Wait, I have access to the MLS. I can find houses. I know.
Oh, you don't say.
Or a newsletter that says, "Hey, here's 10 ways to get wine out of your carpet."
And
if
make
you
a
spill
pumpkin
it, right?
spice.
Or to make some,
By
ham
the way,
and
I'm a
cheese
realtor,
quiche.
and I'm never too busy for your referrals, right at the bottom.
So they want to see houses. They want to know what's coming on the market. They want to see price changes. They're studying the market reports and all that. So give them what they want. Don't give them a bunch of crap. Keep it real, as Jeff says, and then work on the relationship. So that's what we've done is we use Zillow massively to attract the consumer, but then we want to get them off and get them into Real Geeks. PPC and Facebook, and there's so many areas that you can attract the leads or the consumers. And yes, the word leads is so overused. It's ridiculous. And you're right. If I go into another group and I see, hey, we're getting 400 leads, and
We need more.
yeah, we need
We need more because they suck.
Yeah, we need
Wait, are you
more.
selling? I had one this morning that'll go unnamed, but she's in a group and she's saying, yeah, I'm setting 1 to 2 listing appointments a day. I'm rocking it. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm like, I know the market you're in and I know you. Pretty sure you're not. Let me go look, because guess what? We have an MLS and it shows what you've listed and what you've sold. You have no listings. You have 3 sales all year, but on Facebook, you're rocking it. I mean, come on. So be real, be authentic, and learn, and that's why we do these types of things to give back and to teach and all that. But it's, we pull them from Zillow, drop them in. It's great that you say that the expansion thing was Zillow. I wish, I had talked to you 6 months ago, because I just launched a nationwide expansion referral network on Zillow, spending a massive amount of money. And but we did write a contract within 7 days. We've got a ton of pendings. It's
To some, it will work.
Yeah.
It will, and I think the way you're doing it is different.
Yeah,
I think-
I'm doing a massive amount of research and training with the agents, and I coach
You
some
did
of
it
the
right.
agents. So, well, we'll see. The proof's in the
If
pudding.
you guys slowed down and had the infrastructure
Oh, hands down.
and did it, it would work.
And that's
You didn't
literally
have the
why I am
infrastructure.
hiring you to come into my business and set mine up the same way. Because seriously, man, I think a lot of us, what's working, I mean, obviously I've been with Real Geeks now for 2 years. Is it 2 years?
Something like that.
Yeah, holy crap, man.
while.
I have used
like
pretty
10.
much every system out there because I am the definition of shiny object syndrome.
Yeah, we know.
You don't say.
I get
No,
those
no,
emails.
what's
"Jeff,
working best?"
We need to have this, or I'm leaving.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my
No,
God,
seriously.
Bret.
No, but like
Brett
I
was
literally am that
Yeah.
guy that,
He's one of those
had the
guys.
money to
I
burn to
love
go
him, though.
do that crap. And so
I'll change systems. I'll do it.
Yeah, exactly.
like, all
and
right,
so,
bye.
Right, and so I ran a Boomtown site side by side with Real Geeks, and I will be the first to admit, yeah, I dropped a ton of money on a Boomtown site. And then you put the two comparative side by side, and you were there last night when I was telling this. I put a client on the exact same search with with both systems. She got both emails, and she kept coming back to my Real Geeks site because I watched when she would come back, she wouldn't just view the 4 properties that were sent to her in the drip. She would go back in and she would search other properties. When she would do the if she would go back to the Boomtown site, she would click the one property and click off. And that was it, but you can track that.
Well, part of the reason why you're getting that kind of engagement is we have one link
Yeah,
for the new listings,
exactly.
one link for the price changes, one link for the solds or what have you. And when they click on that, it takes them back to the Real Geeks website to view those where they've been using and what the experience they like. They can view, they look at those 3 properties or what have you, but then they're like, oh, well, and then they start searching and then they're there. When you send an email with a bunch of images and just the properties there, they look at images, they might just say one that appeals to them, they go to that one specific property page, but it's not in their normal search thing, so it's on one
then
page.
they
They
stop
stop and they
searching.
go, okay, that was it, and they're done.
Yep.
We want to get them back and view it as if they did that search and got those and get them engaging. Everything is getting them back to the site and engagement so you can then see their user behavior.
And you should be calling all the active users on a daily basis, so they'll show up on that list. You should be calling.
And I fought with you initially over that. And now that I looked at it, man, the text emails get more engagement by far than anything. So things that are working, things that are working best for us with that site, what we're using. Coming soon pages. Our coming soon pages, I use the heck out of those. Only platform I know that has them is Real Geeks, and I use the heck out of them. So what I'll do is I will take the coming soon, and in my market, we're not really allowed to run too much coming soon because our contract doesn't allow us. It basically says it'll be on the MLS by this date. I've actually added an addendum to my contract that basically says I am going to put it on the market prior to that. I'm going to advertise it prior to that.
It's doing the seller service.
And that's exactly what I'm saying is I'm doing them a service, and a lot of brokers
Gets
turn
the
me in.
frenzy because now everyone's like, oh my God, this is coming out.
Right.
Well, something
So I
they
take
can't
that
have yet.
and I run that coming soon page, and I will blast that on Facebook. I will blast it literally everywhere. I've gone as far as to making videos with it. And I even to my database, I use BombBomb as well. So I take that and I will blast it to my database, and the engagement rate we get off of that is phenomenal.
Just a quick question on that, Bret,
Yeah.
because we actually, him and I had a conversation about this last week, because we do the coming soons on Facebook, but don't have them going to any opt-in, which is brilliant. Do you have like a listing manager facilitating that for you as part of the listing process, or you just knock it out yourself?
Dude, I wish I did. When Jason takes over my stuff and tells me how to do it the Canadian way, that's how I'm going to deal with it.
Yeah. Well, I guess my main question is, so like, you know, as we're all busy, you know, you got so many moving parts and so many listings. How do you know when to trigger that coming soon to get on Facebook every single time?
How do I know when to trigger?
Yeah, and get the page built, get it on Facebook.
So I do it. I basically do
like
it as soon as I get photos from my photographer. I used to do the whole take my own photo crap. I'm really bad at photography. I hired that out. I mean, literally, I've started like if I can hire it out, I'm gonna hire it out.
How do you manage those tasks? Do you use
that's my big
do you
question.
use like the drip system within Real Geeks? Do you use a competing transaction management? What do you use?
As far as which part of it?
Like let's say
A to-do
pull a
list is one.
listing.
I think he's saying, hey, when you get a
Like my
listing,
checklist?
do you have like a system?
Where is
like,
the coming soon page?
Do
What
this,
tells you to do
order
that?
the
So-
sign up, what have you. I
So
think that's what he's looking for.
I use a transaction management system. The truth is, I've maximized that to its fullest capacity. It cannot handle the volume that we're doing. And so at this point, it's basically cumbersome. and I'm not going to drop the name on here. If you want to edit it out, or we can talk later. It basically, I've maxed its capacity. About 25 it can handle. Anything above that, it's just cumbersome and clunky. So at this point, I mean, we're basically doing it off a piece of paper.
Yeah, so So here's one thing we are adding to the thing is listings, and you'll be able to do workfloss and to-do lists. So
That's cool.
That's
real cool.
actually, I got somebody working on that right now. So you'll be able to put listings. You'll be able to assign that listing to the lead. So you have a listing, and then you'll be able to do workflows or just like a workflow. Our workflow
Similar to the workflow, but
the same
tied to a
thing, but
listing.
it'll be tied to a listing, a workflow. So you'll be able to make a template and apply it, and then tweak it.
We
Okay,
use,
I'm in
Jason, I saw you had Top Producer. We use Top Producer to do all that with the
We're
action plans.
definitely developing that. We're working methodically to take away other systems that you're using, so you can use everything here, or integrating heavily, like Fidelity just acquired SkySlope. So now we're all part of one company or the mother company, and we're gonna definitely do a deep integration with them
That's great.
at some point, right?
Stuff like that, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that, I mean, Real Geeks innovation is really where it's at. I mean, the part is you guys let me have access to the API. That is so big for me because literally everything that I do needs to connect. And that was my big deal. So I use Riley as well. Riley integrates. You guys did a flawless integration with that. I mean, that's my initial point of contact. I mean, I would love to say that I've got 2 Jamies in back there calling people. I don't. I mean, I've got the initial, they got in touch with Riley? Sweet, we're picking up the phone, we're calling them. They didn't get in touch with Riley? Who wants a referral? And we hand out a ton of referrals that if we can't get a hold of them, and Riley didn't get a hold of them, I hand them out in office, outside of office, anybody that wants them, wants to pay me a referral for them. I don't have the time. So what's working best with Real Geeks for me is basically the ability to do it coming soon, to get those in, and we double-side a good number of our listings because of that, which is helping me. And the other big thing that I love is the Facebook marketing tool, which Jeff knows that I am literally like the definition of loving that.
Especially a listing agent, and it streamlines, bam.
Dude, it is, that has probably, I was huge on Facebook prior, I'm huge on Zillow now, as I'm sure everybody knows that too, but I think the big deal for me is on Facebook, I'm running ads that no one in my market is running. And that's because of the Facebook marketing tool with Real Geeks. They look completely different. And it's cool because I can pull all my listings into it. I have agreements with other brokers where if they get a new listing, they'll call me and be like, dude, run this on your stuff, which is flawless for me because then I'm bringing more business in. So it really is, it's helping everybody, and that tool was key.
Can I slow you down?
Yeah, sorry, man.
No, it's okay.
Lots of coffee.
Let's get you another cup. So you're actually getting like your competitors' listings and advertise them with a Facebook
They're
tool?
giving them permission.
Yeah, they give it to me in writing.
Freaking brilliant.
It's a
'cause you can
digital open
target-
house for
Because if
somebody
you're like,
else's listing.
hey, I love that listing because you know you're going to get a lot of opportunities from it. You're like, hey, let me get you some extra marketing. I'm going to get way
I do it
more
all the
exposure
time.
for your
And
sellers.
you
I
get
do it
the
all the time.
benefit from having a really strongly priced, attractive listing in like a seller's market. It's
So-
not even your listing.
Is that just with your coming soons, or is that with your active listings too? That
Everything. And I think the big kicker is I think people have started to realize, I mean, 2 years ago, I had no sphere of influence. I was in a new area. I knew nothing as far as Washington real estate. I did this in 2 years, and now people are going, where did this dude come from? And so they jump onto a hot pink website because Real Geeks lets me customize it to be hot pink. And they kind of lose their.
Did you have a say in this color scheme?
Our design editor, you can change any color element very easy, and they do.
And we did, and we made it hot pink, and it freaked some people out when they come onto our site. But then, the thing is,
It's called
branding.
peacocking.
And Jason, you brought it up, branding, man. Branding's big. And as you look at all of our stuff, our Real Geeks page looks exactly like the emails that we send out. The emails look exactly like our cars. Our cars look like our cards. I really would appreciate your referrals on the back of my card. I refuse to put that
Are you
there.
driving around a pink Mary Kay Cadillac?
No, 2 pink PT Cruisers and a big
Okay,
old Suburban.
got it.
There's brand continuity. That's what's
It's
important.
all brand
So
continuity.
many people don't do that. They'll have different colors on different marketing. You don't even know it's the same company.
But
right?
people land on our site, and I mean, you guys have access to some of the comments and stuff they put in there. people will land on our site like, hey, saw you driving around and we found your website because of it. Once they're on my site, like you were saying with the Zillow casting the net, once they land on our site, they don't go anywhere else. It updates the fastest, and we ran a commercial on the radio about our website. We flat out say we use it in all of our marketing. We have the fastest, most up-to-date real estate website in the area, and we will blast that on everything. One of the ads we ran on the commercial was basically the DJ talking to me about how fast my website was, and then of course she goes, "Is that what the ladies say?" And so it kind of worked out like borderline pushing it, but we had people sign up on our website because of that. And so what's working the best? The speed. Everything is, I mean, literally, my business would not be where it is today without Real Geeks.
Yeah.
I'll just say what I think is working really well is the fact that you can have multiple lead sources and drive them to your
one site.
amazing mousetrap.
Sticky,
It's what it
about
is.
exactly,
It's
mousetrap is
sticky.
exactly how I'd put it
The user engagement is amazing. You can tell it was created by somebody that understands real estate, which is, I think, a big thing with Real Geeks. Like, you were a realtor, so you know what people
Well,
want.
I
and
talked to thousands of people, and they would give feedback.
And it shows, because like the little details, you can tell, this was thought out by somebody that understands, right? Not somebody that came into the game and developed a website after, never having sold real estate. So anyways, I think that's a big thing that works. The text feature, if you're not texting your people, like, you need to be texting, because I can tell you, if you call me right now, I'm not going to answer, but if you text me, I would probably will respond fairly quickly. So use text a lot. 99% of text messages get read.
The auto texting is amazing too, because you can have all your different lead sources. You can have your Zillow leads coming in, your realtor.com. You can have the seller type lead. You can put source on, if it's a seller lead, or even different landing pages. You can put different sources, so you can have different messages in the auto text based on that source.
And even include SMS into the text drip.
If you
want, right?
Because we have the workflows, and you can do schedule follow-ups, automated texts within those flows, automated email drips and stuff like that. And one thing we did is, when you are doing the texting, we created like the Facebook chat. So within our CRM, you can actually have 4 or 5 conversations going on at once. It's not a light modal like a lot of the other ones are doing. It's a modal, and you can only have that conversation. You can actually be minimized on the page, and then you can be going off to other leads and texting them and having. So you can have 5 text conversations going on with 5 different people at one time.
They do.
And they do,
Our team
right?
members do.
One of the biggest things too with like Real Geeks is when we were experimenting with a lot of different search sites, is I found myself and the agents having to teach the clients how to use the site. Right. And the time and the annoyance, and the client at one point like just taps out, like, I'm just gonna go back to Zillow.
Whatever's easy.
Yeah, right. And the simplicity of it has helped us to where clients are texting me like, I love the site, or hey, there's so much stuff, because I think one of the hardest things to do, and I see this on Shark Tank a lot, is when you're trying to teach somebody about a new product, or there's time and money spent in that, and there's a lot of investment. And as a simplistic environment now with Real Geeks, I never get clients like, hey, how do you do this? Or it's not saving and stuff. The way you've made it to where, like, even the older clients that aren't even really that computer savvy are using it.
They know how to look for properties.
Exactly.
And then it does everything else for you.
I like to say users today take the path of least resistance.
Yes.
It is 100%. Oh, you're on Zillow, all of a sudden you get an email from me. So mine, the way it works, bomb, again, big fan, video. So they come in through Zillow, they land on my website. I've replaced that email that auto gets sent out. It's a bomb email that goes out now. And it's my smiling mug on there that will basically say, okay, so they came in through Zillow. It'll say, hey Mark, I saw that you checked out a home on Zillow, saw that you checked out 123 Main Street on Zillow. Just want to let you know that I'm here to help you with your home search. I am a real person. And I talk about how up to date the site is. Like, hey, this home may or may not be under contract. I'm going to take a look for you. But hey, if you want only active listings, check out my site. I already created a website login for you, and it links in their username, their password, all that crap right in there. Every single time I see, I'd say 80% of the time I'm getting them as a registered user on my page.
I recorded the same exact bomb video 4 years ago, and we've been using it as our auto reply ever since. And I point and I say the link is down below in the email to link on. Your username is your email, your password is your phone number that you registered with on Zillow. I recorded that 4 years ago. We've probably had 5,000 opens. It's got a 67% open rate.
So you guys, your intro email off of Zillow Lead is a bomb back to your site.
Yep.
That's what you're saying. Got it.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
And so I'm using that, and I've actually taken it because Real Geeks lets me do this with Zapier. I'm actually I can send a variety of bomb emails. So let's say they registered through Facebook, they're getting a different one. If they're registering straight through like a direct link, they're getting a different one. And every single one of them talks about a different thing. Now the best part is for sellers, they do that home valuation. They did an email immediately from me. It's a bomb video, and it's talking about what we do to list homes that's different than everybody else, and it links to our marketing pack. Once people open that, it's game over.
And it's message match, right? It's
Yep.
their intent of what they're looking
Yep.
for. You deliver a message that matches that,
Right.
the likelihood of
You're gonna
conversion
teach
is
me
way
that too.
higher.
What's that?
Right?
You're going to teach me that too.
I'm teaching you that. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, I've
I'm
tried
gonna add-
every.
I'll add one more thing
Yeah.
for you on that. So when you're sending them your pre-list packet, basically, or a link to what you do to sell homes, also send them a link to schedule an appointment for the actual
Yeah.
listing appointment.
Yep, they get that
through
with Calendly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
It's got to be easy, and it's got to be dummied down to the lowest denominator.
Yep.
And it's got to be simple when they got there. And that's one thing, when we did create it, it had to be easy on the front end for
Right.
the consumer. Because I have great organic rankings, and I study analytics as well. And I'm looking at bounce rate, return rate, and all that. And once we switched over from my other platform I was using, and when we created Real Geeks, my bounce rate went way down.
Oh, yeah.
It went from like 70 to 60% bounce rate down into, depending on the page, anywhere from 12 to 18%. That's huge because they're not going to the page for people that may be tuned in and watching. A bounce is when somebody goes to the page and then they leave. And that's not good. So the bounce rate went down, and then my time on site and then my returning visitors blew up. And I was getting a lot, and I still do get a lot of organic new traffic. So I get, back when we did it, I was getting like probably 2,500 to 3,000 signups a month on my website.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
That's a
new
ton.
signups and a lot of new traffic.
Organic.
Organic.
Yeah.
Organic, yeah. I worked on my SEO late at nights. I was like Bret, I didn't have a life. So, on my old site, it was the majority of my traffic was new visitors, right? Now, because of the return rates down, I think my return rate is like 75%.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, we're
That's
right about
huge,
that,
right?
which is
That's
and I'm
insane.
getting a
phenomenal.
lot of new traffic. So for that to grow, it almost just reversed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that, and then time on site.
Well, I think we all have to, and everybody watching, we all think like realtors, and we have to think like the consumer. We have to understand consumer behavior. We have to understand what's important to them and what's not important to them. And, they're getting bombarded. So how do we stand out amongst everything they're getting hit with? Because they're not just registering on your site. They're not just registering on Zillow. They're all over the place. Simply all they want is, depending on the stage that they're in, but when they're ready to transact or very close, they just want to get in the house.
Right.
Something's caught their eye, they're ready, they may or may not understand the process, but they want to get in the house. So let's make it easy on them.
Yeah, it's all about being easy. And one other thing is, when I was in Hawaii, now I'm in Dallas, but I'd be going around jogging or seeing other realtors in town, and they'd be like, "Hey, Jeff, my clients really love using your website because it's so easy." I'm like, "Great, tell them to keep using it." Because I know, and then I'm thinking, when you drop the ball, they're using my website. Who are they going to reach out to?
We have over 200 realtors who we've
Using your
tagged
site?
that use our site.
Really?
constantly.
So Kory, what are you using, or how are you using? I know you use the CRM a lot.
Yeah, CRM, the integration with Mojo is probably the biggest.
Oh, you're using it with dialer?
Yeah,
Dude,
the triple line
Kory's the
dialer.
Mojo machine.
Well, I actually don't do Mojo calls anymore.
Of course not.
Because I hired the client care manager.
Right. Damn you, Jason.
But I used to. And I use a triple line dialer. The great thing is you can send over, she'll come in the morning, there'll be 30, 40 leads over the last 24 hours or whatever since she last stopped. She'll send them over, and then she triple line dials them, and we do 6 calls in 6 days. And sometimes she'll do a second call later in the day, so a call at 9 a.m. and a call at, let's say 4:30. And you can set filters in Mojo, so what you call calling profiles. So one calling profile is call 1 to 5, so it filters based on attempts, call 1 to 5. And then the other one's call 6. And on the call 6 one, we have a different voicemail drop that's different from the one that's on call 1 to 5. So then that allows you her to call 200 to 500 people per day, and just get a high contact rate, and contact rate equals appointment rate, and appointment rate equals deals, and go from there.
And with that integration, I believe that she can make updates within Mojo in the CRM, right?
It's a two-way sync in some ways now. So the notes within there's a framed-in Real Geeks lead within the actual Mojo window.
So
which is
she
great.
can
So
do
you
all
actually
notes, schedule
you can
follow-ups,
schedule follow-ups,
everything
all that
right within
there.
Mojo.
The workflow that we use is there's calling groups and calling lists within Mojo. A calling list is uncontacted. A calling group is contacted. So what we do is we've just created a separate list that's called Only Work in RG, Only Work in Real Geeks. As soon as we make contact with somebody and we're going to do another call, then we just do it directly out of Real Geeks with a click to call. I use Skype with a headset.
Sure.
So once we've actually engaged with somebody and there's a note's been taken and we need to follow up, we're going to need to read that note before calling. So power dialing doesn't make sense, because the way you read after power dialing is they pick up the phone and then you're there.
Right.
So you'd have a note, you'd be reading the note as you're making the answer. Not
Sure.
really good. But when you triple line dial uncontacted people, you just hammer through them, right? And then you get your contacts, and once you, she does the triple line dialing on Mojo, and then she just goes, and once she finishes that, she does all her follow-ups, the 30 or 40 or 50, and then turns those into appointments is the goal, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then I think you're also using the coming soons with
I
the
don't use
email
coming soon.
blast. I use the e-blast.
I use the e-blast for, I guess coming soon is what you call it. I call it off market, but I do the exact same script or email template that you actually have on the Real Geeks marketing website, which the one that says, because you're in Hawaii, says still looking in Lanai.
Lani Kai.
Lani Kai, right? Yeah. So I'm in one I did recently is Coquitlam, is where I live, right? So it says still looking in Coquitlam, and that's a filter for advanced search filter on the Real Geeks CRM. So property location is Coquitlam, was on the site within the last 30 days, and then I do average price. So I go, this particular one was listing at 1.2, so I did average price, property price that they've looked at, which is one of the metrics you can do on the site, between 900 and 1.5. And then I sent to, I think it was about 750 people. And out of those 750 people, I think about 10%, about 75 get back, because the way it's written, it's not here's the listing, here's the details, it's got an off-market listing coming up, know that you're looking in Coquitlam or that you was thinking of you, get in touch if you want details.
Right, yeah.
So it picks people out of the quagmire that have literally never replied after a year, and then you're offering them something that they don't have but they want.
You're going to teach me that too, please.
Yeah, it's actually really simple.
It's easy. It's just advanced filters, and you do it. We'll
I
teach
like that
you.
a lot.
It's really, it's actually really, really powerful.
Yeah, that's the advanced feature, because within the Real Geek system, you can do advanced searches and just keep adding filters.
Yeah.
And
then you
a
can
lot of
send
other
that to-
CRMs don't allow that, but you're getting all that user behavior.
Yeah.
So you can do that, but you can even do that for follow-ups too. So you can do these advanced searches
Yeah.
and then create a tab. You can save that search, so then your agents can then have special tabs. So one thing I always like to do, like favoriting a property, is a very strong user behavior signal that if they're favoriting properties on the website, that's a strong signal that they're probably going to do something, right? So you can go in there, advanced search, and the agent can search all leads, do a favorite, last favorited date. You can say within 1 day, 3 days, whatever, or a date range. But let's use this example. Maybe has favorited property within the last day, so you can save that filter. And then you could do last communication date is older than, let's say, 21 days or 14 days. You could save that. And then once then it keeps filtering it down, then you can save that and say fave follow-ups or fave FU or whatever for follow-up,
in real
right?
time when you click it.
Yeah, so
it's
and then you
live.
save that, it creates a tab, so your agents can come in every day and click on that, and then if they're actually using the CRM, they got to use the CRM, because if they put last communication date is older than, so if they're sending them an email or put in a note or or put in like that they spoke with them or left, what have you, or if they sent a text or had, all that is part of a communication, right? It's not necessarily a contact, but a form of communication. And if you do older than, so they can come in every day, and so some people are favoring properties every day. And you don't want them in the list, right? So you can do whatever their parameters are. You click on that every day. Now they got a hot list of people who are doing something. Either
That's
that, or
awesome.
they can click on the live activity feed and do that. It's just real time live, and you can even add filters that. But
So here's some of the tricks. That's so money, but the traps so our agents call leads, right? So we give them 90 to 100 leads that they're top end prospecting all the times, and then if they do that really well and they exhaust those opportunities for the day, they do what we call go into the well, which is where we have thousands of leads in there that aren't necessarily directly assigned at the moment. And we found that if you give them too many, they won't prospect them well enough, right? So with the advanced searches that you can go in and customize, what we found is it's so awesome, there's too many great ways to do it. So we've had to create a communication prospecting plan for each agent and say, hey, when you come in, here's who you call first, here's who you call second, here's who you call third, here's who you call if you have time left, here's who you call every Tuesday, Thursday, here's who you call every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So kind of to your point, if you're going to get on the dialer and call non-contacteds, here's who you're going to call every single day. You know,
It's
1 to 7 day olds or whatever,
My
right?
client
Here's who
care
you're going to
manager
call.
has a list.
Yeah,
4
exactly.
things she just does every day.
So because we have our agents doing some of that too, we have business development guys. We don't like to call them ISAs either, but because we have our agents doing that, each one of them, whether they're marketing specialist, other people call listing agent, or buyer specialist, then they've got a plan that's relevant to them and their timeline and their business type and their gifts and their abilities and the ways that God's wired them to effectively convert. And they'll use different advanced searches than the other person is at different times on different days because of their effectiveness. And it takes a bit to figure that out, but we found that people would get in there and spend 45 minutes creating a different search today or calling totally different people than they did last week. And you can still convert that way, it's just a mess. So it's awesome, but it's really helpful if you can help them or whoever's making those calls create a plan.
Guide them
for
and
like,
say,
this
here's
is your
here-
1A, you know, like, if someone favorited a property or signed up yesterday, I mean, you should be talking to them within 5 minutes, right? 3 minutes. But if someone told you 2 years ago that they might make a move from New York, but they did these 3 things, I want to call them today, but they don't need to be my first call of the morning, right?
No,
So
no.
you want to create like in this order. Well, I'm going to tell you, I want to create that. I think you might want to also. Anyway, that's what we do.
How's the inspection on that? Do you, like after you kind of set the plan, how's your inspection?
Yeah,
and
so
follow-up on
mine used to be less frequent and less effective, right? It still worked well.
Yeah.
But what I was saying, one of the best things we've done in the last 6 months to a year, is have one of our absolute key leaders on the team is in the room with our team when they prospect. And he's a business development guy too, so he's prospecting some as well. But he's in there going, hey, time out, who are you calling?
What did you say?
That sounded,
Why did you say it like that?
that didn't sound like a company script. That actually sounded horrible. You know?
I think you just made that up.
Let's make that up. Let's take a time out and do this right.
He's like, I'm just rolling.
Take a time out and sit in the corner.
Right. You put the dunce cap on. But we joke around. We encourage people to throw stuff at each other in our office. These people are independent contractors. If you're watching and you work at the IR, but anyway, it's a joke. You know, like, so we have little army men and balls and stuff. It's just a goof off.
Knives.
That gets thrown across the room.
What was that for?
Okay.
What was that? All right.
It's a knife in my chest.
Can I send some people to make calls
I
from your
like that
office, please?
idea.
Yeah,
You throw things at your
tomorrow
agents?
We'll go check it out. But my point is, we do all kinds of stuff. Like, let's say culture is like you talk about, and culture
man.
doesn't mean everyone has
cool,
to have a
though.
foosball
Yeah.
table, right? We've got little army men set up, and every time someone says no, you knock one down.
That's
And if you
cool.
still have like 5 army men up, like, what do you?
going.
You're not finished yet, man. So, but at other times when it's like, hey, listen, my wife's in the hospital, don't go 7 army men, dude. Like, care about that person. Right. So
Right.
there's differences, but the answer to your question is he's in the room, and then I pop in, obviously unexpected periodically. And then, you know, people respect what you inspect, right? So it's like, hey, I mean, I heard you on that call. You sounded great. It just wasn't the script. Like, you sound really natural and confident, and that's better than nothing. I'd rather you do that. You're just going to have to do that 3,000 times. Let's role play this out, right? And so I bit my tongue earlier when you talked about them. We'll role play it. Jeff will role play with anyone, anywhere. We had lunch last week. We're just shooting the bull, like, how can we make this mastermind great? You know, Jeff's like, what's
he's like,
working?
ring,
I
ring.
start talking about buyer agents, and he goes, okay.
Let's
ring, ring.
go.
And of course, then I'm like, hello. And we're both leaning in. Everyone's like, whoa, 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 back up. Who's going to hit each other first? So, and then Jeff's like, I wouldn't do it that way. And I was like, well, I would do it that way. He's like, why? I was like, here's why I wouldn't do it your way. I was like, awesome. So he's like, let's do a hangout, or let's do a keeping it real and talk about it. I was like,
Actually,
okay.
we're going to be doing a Keeping It Real in the 26th.
Yeah.
This will probably be
So
after that, but
Yeah.
hey.
So I'll touch on here something we're going to touch on there, and I'll leave it somewhat general. But there's a couple things working really well for us, and we'll talk about all of them. But as far as Real Geeks, I'll back up and go big picture. What's working really well for us at Real Geeks is remembering that those buyer leads are also listing leads. They're seller leads, right? Yes. So when I got into the business of internet lead generation, this is probably like 04. This is back when people actually had lead problems, right? You really had a lead problem. You were like, I'm pretty good if you put me in front of someone, but I don't have anyone to be in front of today or tomorrow or ever again until I stumble on the next one, right? And so, like you said, we went through 18 different internet IDX website people, and I tried to figure out SEO. That was not my gift. I'm not that kind of detail guy. But ultimately, we were always told, hey, about X% of buyer leads are also listing leads. And I was like, no one has that has never been an accurate number, ever. And so part of this, I'm going to say, has nothing to do with my intelligence. It's the fact that we're in a market, we are here, and most of you probably are, where sellers are totally freaked out and paranoid. Right? I am not selling. I actually like my house. I don't hate it, or I hate it, but I could hate something worse, whatever. So I'm not going to sell until I know I can buy. Because I'm pretty confident. Everybody keeps telling me the market's hot, hot, hot. But I'm afraid I'll sell it and I can't buy, or I'll sell it and I'll have to buy a piece of junk, or I'll sell it and I'll have to buy 37 miles from here or whatever, right? Or
they'll sell it and they would sell it, but they don't want to go through the hassle of having it on the market.
Or I'm going to have to pay more than I'm comfortable paying for the next house, blah, 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 right? So they're not going to even talk about selling until they've scouted their buying options, right? And you all know this, but it's just remembering like it's different right now, or maybe like this forever, but it's different than it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And we're constantly having to lead and train and coach our team. Like, it's been a part of our scripting for years, but are you making sure you've checked that do they need to sell? It's part of our automated follow-up. But this is where if you're not careful, your automation makes you look like an idiot, right? Email goes out, do you also have a home to sell? Yeah, and I told you about it last Wednesday. You're like,
yeah, and that should never come in an email, I don't think.
Right, exactly, I agree. But that's my point. You get hopped up on automation and buyer leads, and you sort of forget, like there's a live human on the other end that maybe he wants to buy 3, maybe he needs to sell one, maybe he has one to sell but doesn't need to sell it first, but that's that conversation. So I would say the thing that's working for us best related to Real Geeks, and there's a lot of things that are working, but it's just remembering this is not a buyer lead platform, right? This is our website, it's our online lead generator, it's CRM, and for us, and this is what we'll talk about on the Keeping It Real, is that this is my absolute single highest ROI on a marketing dollar right now. And we do radio, and we do all kinds of other really cool stuff. And I didn't even realize it, and I'm going to admit, and this is where Jeff might throw something at me, but late last year, we looked at all of our marketing dollars that were going out, and I said, we're not going to like cancel Real Geeks. It's our website and other stuff, but we're going to pull back on pay-per-click for buyer lead generation because it's just not as effective. We convert the buyers, it's fine. It's just not a big enough ROI. We have bigger ROIs where we should put more dollars and go focus on listings because we'll get buyers from those, right? And it's not getting us enough listing dollars, right? And so we kind of did the whole like, this feels wrong to do that. Like it makes sense up here, but we got to give this one more really good push for like a 120-day test and be really smart about it. And when we did, we started pulling a bunch of listings. And that's when I was like, whoa, 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 wait. And then I did what anyone at this table would do, and you're like, put more money on that. Put more money at that. Let's get some more people focused on this. Let's bring in more team members. Let's focus on this. And so right now, and I will say this, radio works very well for us. But my ROI on a pay-per-click to Real Geeks generated lead, not buyer lead, but lead, is over 2,000 right now. The ROI.
I think a lot of it is mind shift because everybody says, oh, they're searching. The lead or the person signed up and they're doing a property search. But hey, what do most sellers do before they put their home on the market or think about selling their home? They go and see the inventory. They want to go and see what's available. Hey, we're thinking about, my wife and I do that, and I'm sure all you do that, and everybody in the market. Sellers start by looking at what's available because they're not going to put their home on the market unless they really have to relocate or there's some hardship you know, but most of the people selling their homes are not hardships. They're looking to go buy another home, and they start in the property searching phase. So that's why you got to have the mindset that this is not a buyer lead. And the reason why so many agents think that and don't convert as many listings is because their mindset, they're treating the person only like a buyer. And if you treat them only like a buyer, you're never going to get their listing. And if you never get their listing, you're never going to get them as a buyer anyways, unless the listing agent really screws up. So you got to find out, but you can't hammer them like, you got a home to sell?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be
You
a
can't
lot.
assume they have to sell
Yeah,
it. You
I
can't
mean,
assume
it's
that
like, hey, do you current?
Right.
Yeah, you can write on the whiteboard. So instead of like asking them and hammering, hey, do you got a home to sell, like a desperate agent, it should be more like, hey, are you currently renting your home or do you own? Now it's like, you're asking them, do they rent? If they're a homeowner,
there's not an owner
they're
that's
proud,
not, yeah,
man. There is not a homeowner
and
out there
instead
that's
of
not
saying,
proud.
do you need to sell first? Hey, do you guys want to sell first? Or, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
The other
So-
thing I would add, go ahead.
Oh, I would also, so I would go on to say that, and they'd say, well, I own my home. Oh, you own your home, great. I'm curious, is that something you're gonna hold on as an investment and rent? Or is that something you're gonna need to sell to get the next home? So you're actually giving them credit, like they might have the capability of doing that, but we all know that probably 95% of people need to sell their home, but you're not hammering, okay, great, when you want to put that on the market. I'm the best agent, man, I'm #1 in my market. Screw that, they don't care about that. They want to understand, communicating like a person, like as if it was a friend, right? And that you really care about this person.
And one thing we've picked up on in this market, and I'll say this, openly admitting we haven't really tested this much. We've tested the language, but we haven't had to follow through on the actual process yet. I know it will work, but what we're offering people is a guarantee that if they do want or need to sell their home first, that we can put that house on the market, get it under contract, and if still somehow they fail to find something they love, we can pull the plug on that. And most agents are like, what? You can't do that.
You absolutely can.
But the answer is, yes, you can. You can put a contingency in
Oh,
reverse.
I'm
Yeah.
finding a
So I'm
replacement
going to put
property.
it the other way. Hey, if your house doesn't sell, you're not going to buy mine. Great. Hey, if we don't find one we want to buy, we're not going to sell you this one. We're going to tell you that up front. And we've even built into where every time I've mentioned it to a client, they've said, I would gladly reimburse any inspection fee or option fee if we got there. Because it's not that much. Like for $500, you're going.
You got some
if you gotta pull
security
the
that if
plug.
you can't find
so
that
we're,
home,
we're
for sure.
offering that as a guarantee. And I've run some radio with it, and it's testing okay, where we've said, listen, in this market, we know a lot of you guys are sitting at home thinking about selling, but you're totally freaked out that you might sell and not find something you love or find something that's too expensive or a deal might fall through. We will guarantee you to protect you from losing your home and being homeless or having to buy something you don't love. We'll get your home under contract, and if for any reason we can't get you into a home you absolutely love, you can stay in your home.
Another promotion that we've seen like work really well going on with Jeff's point is they are a buyer, and one of the big concerns, and if you're promoting this, it actually kind of puts their defenses down, is making that sale secondary. Meaning like, hey, one of the biggest fears that a lot of clients in your same situation have is what's out there on the market, right? The market's pretty hot right now, and so what we do is we actually offer for you to go out with one of our partners, buyer agents. We recommend that you do. Go out for a day or two, figure out what you can get in that price point. Once they hear that and they're like, I can go do that
With no commitment.
Yeah, no commitment. The sale's like just cake at that point. And the fact that the focus is now secondary, and their main motivation is, and that's exactly why they're on the site. But once we started promoting that, like promote the, hey, we have this 2-day tour that you go on. That was a huge relief because there's this big stress of how do I do it at the same time? And there's all these questions, but I agree with the market. The market isn't what it was 3 or 4 years ago. Now, the big question that goes through a lot of people's mind is, okay, so if I sell at a high, what do I have to do? Unless I move to a smaller city, I got to go buy in a high. Yeah. And they just want to know exactly what the inventory is.
Which is where I stole something from Mark Martin. Everybody's got coming soon. We've talked about it a ton. But Mark used some version of this private portfolio.
Private listing
portfolio. We just call it a private portfolio, private portfolio listing. And so we talk about, on that day, by the way, we'll probably show you some houses that nobody else knows about.
That's cool. That's good.
Would you be interested if I could get you a list of homes that nobody else knows about, that's not being publicly marketed? You'd probably be the only person that sees it. Now, I'm not promising you the timing will line up or whatever, but I can tell you that it's not on the internet and no one else knows about it. So if I could show you some homes that you wouldn't have to compete with 5, 6, 7 other offers on, would that be valuable to you? Yeah, great. Well, when would be a good time for me to share that with you? well, can't you email it to me? Unfortunately, I can't.
They're not on the internet.
I've promised all these people that
yeah.
we wouldn't publicly market it. That's kind of the whole gist. I've promised I would share that with only people that we've had a conversation with. Now, you don't have to make any grand commitments or anything, but once we kind of know that you're not a serial killer, then I can point you to this information. We take you out and get a peek at it, and if everything lines up, maybe we'll sell yours that way. Yeah. You never know. Let's get together and talk about it. And so that's
cool.
another down here in the lockbox, I've got some special stuff for you, and so you can use that on the buyer side, on the marketing side. We call the listing side the marketing side. We hate the word list.
Well, I could see the psychology then of how you're double ending a lot of properties with coming soon pages. Especially in our market, I mean, a home goes on, it's gone in 6 hours, 24 hours. So having these coming soons where you have the private inventory portfolio where buyers can look through these, 8 to 10 homes. From a buyer standpoint, amazing. From a seller standpoint, look at the marketing you're doing prior to the home even going on the market and not relying on them. You're investing in it, right? I like that idea, man. Thank you.
So here's one thing too that, what I did, because I prospected a lot. I used to call expired listings, circle prospect and all that. And going back to that private inventory concept, when you're talking to a lot of people, like Todd said earlier, you're going to run into people that say, hey, I would sell, but I don't want to put it on the market. I would be keeping an inventory, and I'd always keep following up with those people, because at some point, if they're thinking about that, they'd probably do that. So treat them like, a good seller prospect. But I would be making a list of that, and then I'd be networking with other agents in your office and say, hey, if you have buyer, we're in a hot market. I'm prospecting every day. I talk to a lot of people. I'm keeping a list of people that would sell. So if you have anybody looking in a specific market, you're having a hard time, come to me. I may have some inventory. It's not on the market, but they'll do a one-party show, one-party listing agreement. And I used to do that, and I would sell probably 15 to 20 homes a year just from having that list. And some of them I bought myself because they were great investments and the people wanted to carry. And then they're like, I don't want to sell. And I'm like, well, what would you say? So you can actually pick up really good deals.
But I think, doesn't it go back to the consumer itself? The consumers are so savvy now, they're not going to raise their hand until they can get something that they can't have.
Right.
And one of the things that, as an agent, you become savvy. Yeah. And right when you say a coming soon, or I have this pocket listing, or I have something that, nobody can touch, their heads start popping up. Yep. And I would agree with you. A lot of them, what they've done is, I'm with an agent. But if you ask a couple of questions, well, an agent's been emailing me. Yeah. But it's a defense mechanism too, right? The consumer themselves are like, hey, no.
It's a reflex. No, I'm working with an agent. They've read the 10 things to shed off.
Real estate agent.
Yeah, real estate agents. And one is I'm working with an agent. Well, okay.
This is 20,000 under market. Okay, I'm not working with an agent.
One of the other add-ons to this, which is obviously an effective idea, and I didn't steal it from Mark. He let me have it. It was a generous borrowing. But you've got to, if you have client care or ISAs or business development or whatever, or if you're just a hardcore prospector or whatever, you've got to be letting your both potential buyers and sellers know about that. Hey, our team's going to reach out to about 2,000 potential buyers and sellers this week. I've got full-time staff here that will find you a property. Like if you're afraid to sell and not find something, we'll go find something that isn't online. We call, and you can go down, here's the 8 different sources we have to build that list, and honestly, that's proprietary. Please don't share that with anybody else. Nobody else is doing that. And as soon as you tell them, we will go find it. We're not just going to log onto the same website you can.
Yeah,
we're going to go find it, and we're doing it whether you're here or not. So this list is building for you.
Actually, I think I got that from you. I think you told me that a long time ago on how to get properties that weren't on the market. And I was like, whoa, all ears.
No, because you're going to have people say that would sell, right?
You're already doing the work.
But you also, if you're talking to a buyer prospect, and let's say they're just only looking to buy, right? And you need to bring some value is, hey, we'll show you everything on the MLS. We'll keep you updated. Everybody can do that. And one thing, we're in a rather hot market. We're prospecting every day, and if you have a specific neighborhood that you're looking in and there's nothing available, we're going to go out and contact every one of those sellers in that, and we're going to try and find you a home, and that's one of the services that we're going to do that nobody else is going to do.
And we have a full-time staff that does that for you.
But I feel like the sellers too, like when you start doing stuff before it's listed, one of the things that's helped me out a ton, especially like in the listing appointment, so we go through our pre-marketing stages, and when they see that you're spending money and that you're doing all this stuff before it even goes active, they want to even work with you more, because I get the response I get a lot is like, oh, you're going to spend money, but it's not even active. Absolutely. and they just love it and they eat it up on the seller side.
We have a 7-step system. It's moduled online, train our agents, and actually part of our consulting business too. But one of them is creating scarcity. Right? So most people are like, well, there's scarcity or there's not in the market. And it's like, no. There's scarcity or there isn't, and then I turn it up from there. Right? And this is how we do that. And that's where you're talking about, this is one of the ways we do that. Like, no one else knows about this property. We are creating, so you talk about the one you're marketing, and we say we have to go create a market of one. There's nothing else like it. So if it's gone, you don't get another one. And that's the marketing message you have to communicate. And then you flip it and say, we'll find what you want. It's out there somewhere. It may not be on a website, but here's how we're going to go get that for you. And it's like, whoa. And no one else has all that.
And if you're doing that on a regular basis, and let other agents in your office know, if you're in a hot market and they're having a hard time, come to us. If you have somebody that can prospect like that, it's the best prospecting if you want listings in the world, because now you can go in there and honestly tell the consumer, hey, we got people looking in your neighborhood. We're in a hot market. Have you thought about selling? And if you do that, you will pick up a lot of listings, and then they'll also run into the people that say, well, I don't want to list my home. But you can do the one-party shows, and then now you're building this inventory. You're actually creating your own MLS within, and you've got all,
You really are.
And you got all these buyers too on your website looking. It's just so great in so many ways. I can't even.
That's a writer downer right there.
One thing I'm going to challenge you guys, if you're not already doing this, when you get a listing, like, spend the money on a cleaner, do the little things.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I bring in I have a stager. I pay her $25 an hour. We don't bring in like our own furniture. We work with what they have. We help declutter the house. We get it ready for market. I have a cleaning team that comes in. We do a full lifestyle video. We do professional photos every single time. And if it's a $100,000 listing, for example, I'll offer them 2 packages. I'll say, okay, here's the fair market rate. You'll get professional photos. Or then I can offer one that's, say, $1,000 more, which will recover some of my extra costs, but then I'll put on that show. Well, those listings are the ones that I'll get like 10 different new buyers and potential listings from, and it's worth the ROI every time. Make it like a spectacle, almost in a sense, like when every listing. And if you've noticed, if you've followed any of my Facebook stuff, as I actually market myself in every listing too. So I'm not only marketing their home, but I'm also marketing us.
Correct.
And how we do things, which is twofold, right? And my phone is starting to ring. Like, I've almost doubled, maybe tripled my listings this year since I've done that format.
From the one listing itself. So
From
you're
the
doing
one-
the video for them, right?
Yeah.
Seller's happy.
Seller's
Obviously
happy.
promotes their home.
Yeah.
You're getting buyers off of that because they see a beautiful video
Yeah.
to come off that. And now you're getting sellers who are seeing that video and seeing you inside of it and what you did for that seller.
Right.
Are you like interviewing them? Like,
No,
or just
I
kinda
change
like-
it up every time.
Okay,
you
so it's
know,
just
but
kinda like
my
So,
format
quick
is.
question on this though.
I can show you an
Do
example.
you have a video crew that you've probably, so you have a video group that
Yeah.
you've met up there, right?
Yeah.
And then you just kind of brainstorm on the front end, like, hey, here's this house, here's what I'm thinking on this one,
Yeah.
like little
I
2-3 minute
I was
videos.
like, look, here's the standard right now.
Yeah.
I want to recreate it in 2017. Like, how do I create the new standard? So we came up with lifestyle videos. I thought, let's do a lifestyle video every time.
Sure.
A lot of money with them because I do it every single
Well, it's
time.
consistent. The guy's
I'm
got a
their
career
biggest
off of
client,
it, yeah.
right?
Right.
But
Keeping It Real on Location is produced by Real Geeks. Visit keepingitreal.com to opt in and be notified by email so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. You can follow us on Facebook, where we're constantly posting educational and training material. You can also follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel. To find out more about Real Geeks and what we offer, you can visit our website at www.realgeeks.com.